So, I'm really curious about Beyond Organic. I'm an entrepreneur too. I like doing big things. At what point did you get that aha moment that, Beyond Organic was your next big venture?
Well, I originally went into this because I felt God leading me to create places of refuge and sustainability for times that got worse. So, in other words, create food, shelter, hydration, and clothing for people. And it dawned on me, wait a minute, I can't just have 20,000 people eating grass-fed meat and drinking healthy milk at picnic tables singing Kumbaya. I mean, it's process, it's infrastructure. And then I said, wait a minute, this is going to go great in health food stores. But then someone said to me, Jordan, you need to get this product directly from you to the people. And I'm thinking, wait a minute, we're talking about refrigerated, perishable items? This has never been done before. Then I thought, it's never been done before. So I still ignored it. I went with all the large health food stores that I've been blessed with good relationships with, planned on getting the products out there, but I realized what we have needs education. And instead of being in a health food store, what if I could reach out to the thousands of natural health practitioners like yourself that I have relationship with? They're the ones driving the behavior. They're driving people to go to the health food stores. They don't get to even know where the food comes from. Certainly they don't get any thank you or even any compensation. And then I thought, again, the stay-at-home mom who homeschools her kids that wants the best and has a circle of friends at her Bible study or at her parent group. What if they could be involved? And then I thought, wait a minute, this is going to be awesome. I can finally be in partnership with all the connections and relationships I've had that have used my products, but now Beyond Organic isn't just my vision, it's our vision. And so, people say now, well, Jordan, how are you going to supply all the demand? We've kind of differentiated ourselves to the point where we can't get cattle other places to produce our dairy, but we have built a pretty big vision and big infrastructure, and we're going to produce the foods, distribute the foods and beverages, and train others to do the same. I talked to a farmer 2 days ago, and I said, Tim, look, I have beautiful baby bulls that could really make a difference in somebody's herd, but I can't keep them all, so I have to sell a lot of them, because if I keep the bulls, then I don't have milk for the people. And I said, you know what? In fact, he's a doctor and a farmer, and I said, in fact, let's get an organization together and promote this message, because it's not about me, it's about getting it out there. And so I hope in 5 to 10 years, Beyond Organic is more of a standard than it is a one place and a one-stop shop.
Well, I think you got a beautiful vision here. I appreciate you, just going with the flow here, Jordan. So you met my wife earlier. This is my wife, Angela Baldessar, and you opened up, kind of Pandora's box here. You said
stole one of my lines.
Yeah, you stole one of her lines.
Yours is better. I like that. You pay the farm now or the
pharmacy later.
So what you said is, you're thinking about, part of what Beyond Organic is about is the stay-at-home mom. Not that you're stay-at-home and you do a lot of work too. Homeschool, prepares the meals. Family is number one in your life. So I figured it'd be a good idea to have one of those demographic here to ask you some questions.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I guess one of my questions is for some of the moms out there whose children may not have been raised by as health conscious of parents as we are, who aren't doing raw almond butter sandwiches on Ezekiel bread in their kids' lunches, who are packing fruit roll-ups or things like that, who say, my kids aren't going to eat fermented beverages or raw cheeses, or they won't eat that way. What do you say to those moms?
Well, it's a great question. When we were developing, for example, Suero Vive, which is our cultured beverage / performance drink, we actually did a taste test with ages 8 to 70, and really just me in the taste test were, I'll eat anything as long as it's healthy, and they really loved it. I mean, the Beyond Organic foods, now granted, the sour taste is missing from our diet today, so many children don't know how to process that, but I promise you take our amasi that's either raspberry or milk and honey, put it in an ice cube tray, put some toothpicks in, we call them amasicles, but I promise you, any kid will love them. We've got our Beyond Organic chocolate, which is amazing, and most children already like cheese and beef. Our cheese that's raw doesn't taste strange, it tastes amazing. What's strange is getting a kid to consume rice cheese or soy cheese that is imitation and kind of put together like a polymer. So I do think that kids in this generation, whatever they call the millennial generation, will grow up never eating fish, not even knowing what lamb is, much less consuming it. Green vegetables are not part of the menu, so it can be difficult, but part of Beyond Organic is education with recipes and how to put meals together. I make ice cream for my kids almost every night, and every one of them asks for it. It tastes amazing. Now, if you're used to eating junk ice cream. It may not taste exactly the same, but I have seen kids convert very quickly as long as they're getting the healthy proteins and fats. Taking a child and putting them on a vegan diet, especially a raw vegan diet, really difficult because they're just not used to eating those food groups. But I promise you that any mom who endeavors to live beyond organic, allow us to educate you through our books, our online university called Beyond Organic University, our online community, and I think you'll find that kids, and of course husband, which is really tough for moms, most, not you, I think that everyone's going to love the food because it's real.
Okay, so they're still going to be able to make their Friday night spaghetti or their whatever.
Oh, absolutely. As long as it's spelled angel hair pasta, as you know.
Okay, they're going to be able to replace it with healthier options.
I mean, just an example, so many people avoid red meat and do turkey meatloaf, and ground turkey's fine, but why? I mean, it doesn't taste the same. So when you do our meatloaf, our green-fed meatloaf recipe, when you do our pasta and meat sauce, it's amazing. Tacos, fajitas, whatever you want to do. That's why it's so utilitarian. And our hot dogs, people say, hot dogs, don't they use all kinds of weird parts of the animal? Our hot dogs, you might be getting ribeye hot dog, tenderloin hot dog, New York strip. Right now, we put the best of the best in everything we do. So I really think that there is something in Beyond Organic for everyone. And I think a lot of people are going to move to new boundaries in terms of their diets, and they're going to say, why wasn't I doing this all along?
Sure, and I think that my Italian husband is probably glad to hear that there may be a chance of us switching away from our turkey meatballs. It's just easier for a health-forward mother to find turkey that's been minimally processed than it is to find beef. I mean, even going to Whole Foods or the pricier health food stores, the red meat is a much harder product to come by that's free of hormones and everything else. So, it's definitely an option. What do you feel about some of the things that I've told my kids in raising them is that we don't eat anything that our great-grandmother wouldn't recognize as food. So, for example, fruit roll-ups, anything like that. If it's something you handed her and she wouldn't recognize a Twinkie, then it's not something that we're going to eat. And the other thing is I've raised my kids to know the difference between something that was created in a factory and something that was made by God. My problem as a mom now is even the foods that, like trying to explain to my children why the watermelon that God made is no longer the watermelon that God made, and why not having the seeds in it is not, as healthy anymore. What's happened to our food? I mean, what's happened? Why is that not the truth anymore?
It's so hard to explain in even a day or 3 days what is really happening, and that's why I think the Bible verse, by the sweat of your brow you obtain your food, is so true. It is so difficult. My mom, who has been in natural health for 38 years, will come up to me and say, Jordan, look at this wonderful 17-grain bread. Isn't it great? And I'm like, Mom, look on the back. There's 5 different ways that they talk about sugar and various white and unbleached flours. It's so difficult today. And when you get down to the hybridization, the seedless grapes and watermelons and oranges, I'm no different than anybody. I'd rather not spit out the seeds. But if you realize we are losing our heritage here. And so a lot of what we're doing at Beyond Organic with heirloom seeds, with planting our pastures the way that we want the end product to result is groundbreaking. But what I want people to understand is this is not a new innovative vision. I'm just trying to get back what we're losing each and every day. And so it is a challenge. I am probably more strict and more involved in what my kids eat than any parent I know. But you're right, if they want watermelon, where do you even find it with seeds anymore? If they want pineapple, where do you find it when it doesn't come from Costa Rica, where you hear the conditions aren't so great? And so for me, I have similar principles as you talked about. Eat only what God created for food and eat it in a form that's healthy for the body. And if that means the tomatoes look bumpy and ugly because they're heirloom, we do that instead of the beautiful red tomatoes. So I think with genetic modification out there, cloning of animals looming, I don't know how much longer we have to live our merry life in what I call the emperor's new clothes economy and healthcare system and food system. But as long as we have, I'm going to share this food with people. But I got to tell you, the food that we ship to people is going to pale in comparison to the awareness we create on how people can grow, raise, and find their own food. And if someone comes to me and says, Jordan, tell me how to do exactly what you're doing, I know this goes against all intellectual property and business, but I will. I mean, I hope every mission marketer and customer at Beyond Organic grows 2 things in their backyard and composts 1 from their kitchen. We're not completely where we need to be at Beyond Organic, but each and every year we're going to get better, more sustainable, and we're going to share with people. And that's what really gets me excited. It's not about what we're doing. It's about what we're doing.
Right. Now, how do you suggest that people like me who get involved with Beyond Organics, when I'm at Bible study, when I'm at my homeschool co-op, and I'm with other mothers who may not be as aware of the situation and may think that, the things that they're doing for their children by buying fat-free, sugar-free, low-fat foods, in the box, that they're already doing the best they can. How do you suggest, that you bring up this topic, that you make this introduction, that you spread the word about Beyond Organics?
It's a great question, and the first I would say is bring our Beyond Organic chocolate bars with you and wrap your information around them. But and it's only a partial joke. We don't grow or produce the chocolate ourselves, but we found a Italian family, 5th generation, that does it the way that we would if we did chocolate. So we've got a chocolate bar, certified organic, dark chocolate, with omega-3s, probiotics, and fiber. It's got flaxseed in it, and it tastes great. I say it would taste like a Nestle's Crunch if I knew what that tastes like. People are going nuts over this, and it's a way to get people to bridge the gap between where they are and where they want to be. Think about it, a 35-gram chocolate bar, which, by the way, is not something to build your diet around, I want to make that clear, has as much fiber as a cup of raspberries. So I honestly think one of the best things to do when you go to when you're the team mom and you have to bring the snack, when you invite people to your house for Bible study, serve Beyond Organic foods, because I promise you, you will get several people that are completely surprised and even shocked at how good they taste. And I know it's hard when someone says, drink organic milk, I'm doing the best for my family, and we're thinking, it's homogenized, it's pasteurized with high temperature, synthetic nutrients added. It could sit on a shelf without refrigeration, but they refrigerate it because we wouldn't buy it if it wasn't. You think of all the grain-fed, wrong genetics. You don't want to insult somebody who believes they're going to their big department store and buying their milk. You start to introduce the Beyond Organic concept, and they say, wow, I know about organic, but tell me about Beyond Organic. And when you say something as simple as God created milk to come out of an udder of a cow in its whole form, but man is skimming it. Even whole milk can be skimmed legally in the United States because it's 3.5% fat when it should be 4.2. You start saying these things, A, there's a competitive nature in people, but B, there's an ultimate desire to do what's best for your family. And if you see someone else doing it, I don't want to call it righteous jealousy, but it's we as believers, we as health enthusiasts, if we don't make people jealous of us, how can we expect anybody to want what we have? And so part of it is living it. My son, who's 7, has caused so much trouble at his private school. He wrote a cookbook. He told me he would, and I thought he wasn't going to do it. And I get home, and I'm reading it. He spelled honey like Winnie the Pooh does, Hunny. He created a club called the Healthy Foods Club. Now, he goes to a small Christian school, and he eats differently than everyone. So instead of being the cast out, he decided to turn the tables. And so he would go from lunch to lunch and inspect it and give them you're in or you're out of the club. So when my wife Nikki was called by the principal for a conference, we didn't know what was going on. And they just said, your son started a club. And basically the kids were going home to their parents saying, Mom, this doesn't have enough protein in it. Joshua says there's chemicals in here. The whiter the bread, the sooner you're dead. And I just thought, you know what? Out of the mouth of babes. See, my son, he doesn't get forced to eat this way anymore. He knows that there's truth and then there's a lie. Well, I met someone today at a lunch training that I did, a seminar for a women's group. Yeah, when I invite people over, I kind of mix it up. A little bit of junk, a little bit of health food. And I'm thinking, all things in moderation is probably the dumbest statement we could say, because I could list 1,000 things in moderation that will kill you. So I really feel like you live it, you share it when you can, and I believe that people are going to be drawn to this. I've had people talk about Beyond Organic. I never mentioned it. They just hear it and they're intrigued and they feel like they're missing out on something. And our job is to make them feel that way.